And good morning, world. It is the 14th of December 2020. It's in early morning, it's mid-morning UK time. And today is the day of a total eclipse of the sun. Before I do talk about that, I want to just make a couple of brief announcements. Firstly, a big thank you to all of those students who came to me for that first module of the beginner's course on astrology on the meaning of the sun, the moon, the ascendant and the midheaven in each of the different signs of the zodiac and where appropriate the different houses. It was a tremendous course. Everyone was well happy. For those of you who didn't make it for whatever reason and still want to look at it, you can find it on the streaming page of my website, stevejudd.co. There is a fee. The second module of a beginner's course, looking at the meaning of the individual planets and their positions in the houses and the signs of the zodiac, will start on December the 7th, and I will be putting up a form on my website later today. Now, there's a total eclipse today, and this is the start of a week-long period which in many ways is going to summarise 2020 and kickstart us into a hopefully totally different direction. Now, first of all, there's a total eclipse. It's going to start in the deep south of the central South Pacific. It's then going to dip towards the Antarctic but not hit it, and then going to lift up again and cross the coast of Chile, Argentina, close to Uruguay, and then disappear as it gets into the South Atlantic. So the majority of the world will not see this eclipse. South America will get it, especially Central South America will get it in all of its glory. Now, this eclipse in itself is not a significant factor when viewed alone. It's trining Mars. It is a very weak conjunction to Mercury. But apart from that, there's no other major aspects to this eclipse. But that's if you view it as a one-off standalone new moon stroke total eclipse of the sun. Because of course it has to be a total eclipse of the sun, it also has to be new moon at the same time. Viewed in the context of both the medium term and the long term picture, it's a much more significant meaning. In the medium picture, it's sandwiched between the two most beneficial new moons of recent times. The last new moon in Scorpio at 22 degrees of Scorpio was sextiling Jupiter, and it was a lovely new moon. It was the beginning of the end of the horror stories of 2020. And the next new moon on January the 13th will be almost precisely conjunct Pluto, less than 1 degree away from conjuncting Pluto. And that is going to offer a chance for a major fresh start and new beginnings. And although the actual timing of it will probably accompany some type of peak and closure, it is nevertheless going to be seen in times to come as the start of a brand new beginning. Viewed long term, this eclipse is really significant. It's close but not exactly conjunct galactic centre. I don't really give that much meaning to this galactic centre. A lot of more esoteric astrologers do. But it does suggest that in many ways this is a new moon that is summarising the year and pointing us in a totally different direction. It's been a hell of a year. And now, today, is the start of a week-long period where there's going to be a lot of fundamental shifts and changes. It starts with today's new moon, and the actual timing of this is that the maximum period of the total eclipse, the maximum strength of the eclipse will be at 14 minutes past 4 UK time. The actual moment of the new moon is at 18 minutes past 4 UK time. So whatever you're doing today at 4:15 to 4:20 p.m. UK time, then take a couple of minutes to just reflect. It is a total eclipse of the sun. The light of the sun will be occluded from parts of the earth. If you're in South America, you're going to be seeing birds coming down and landing and cows and sheep huddling together in flocks. People will be quiet. There will be a stilling of energy for a few minutes. And this will be felt all around the world. And events that occur today have both a potential for tremendous closure and tremendous new beginnings, because an eclipse of the sun is about bringing long-term challenges to an end and bringing hope, and particularly because it's in Sagittarius, it is the sign of hope and optimism. This is followed in a couple of days' time by Saturn moving into Aquarius. This will happen on Friday, followed by Jupiter moving into Aquarius on Saturday. Saturn moves into Aquarius on Thursday. Jupiter moves into Aquarius on Saturday. And then on the Monday morning, it's the winter solstice if you're in the northern hemisphere, summer solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere. So we've got a total eclipse, Saturn changing sign, Jupiter changing sign, and then it's solstice, all within the space of 7 days. This is a really concentrated and compressed time of astrological energy, and really unusually for 2015, all of these astrological significators are hopeful. There's nothing negative here. I'm certainly not unhappy about Saturn leaving Capricorn and moving into Aquarius. I know that Saturn rules Capricorn. Using traditional astrology, Saturn also rules Aquarius. But to free Saturn from the grip of Pluto and to free us up and give new hope has got to be a good thing. Immediately followed by Jupiter, and Jupiter loves being in Aquarius, well, more than Capricorn anyway. Aquarius isn't Jupiter's favourite place, but it's better than Capricorn. So there is this is just this surge of hope here. I'm not going to go so far as to say optimism, but hope. This has been a really dysfunctional year. In fact, it's been a really dystopian year. Dystopia, the opposite of utopia. And I shall do more on dystopia in a couple of days' time, because from tomorrow onwards for 48 hours, both Jupiter and Saturn will be occupying 29 degrees of Capricorn. Really important degree. So there's a lot to be said about this. But instead I prefer to focus on today. This eclipse hits a number of governmental, political, economic charts, stock exchanges, political parties, politicians across the world. And across the world it seems that politicians are stumbling. Leadership is conditional on political balance rather than what is of benefit to the people that politicians profess to serve. There is no more care for population amongst politicians. They are self-serving hypocrites, or at least the vast majority of them are. And I suspect that this eclipse is just another step on the way towards bringing the old political systems that we've always been brought up with to an inevitable close. As to be replaced by what? Well, that's another question. But we don't trust politicians anymore. We just don't trust them. So what's the alternative? It's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to do a lot in the next few days on Jupiter and Saturn moving into Aquarius. What I hope is the end of a period of real dystopia and a hopeful moving towards a more optimistic time. And then it's solstice. But today is an eclipse of the sun, which is normally a cause for concern. But this eclipse is in Sagittarius. It's bringing to an end old misplaced attitudes around faith, belief, truth, authenticity, or lack of fake news. Who trusts the politicians anymore? Who trusts the media in any shape or form anymore? Perhaps this new moon, because it is a new moon, even though it's a total eclipse, this new moon is suggesting to us that we need to start trusting ourselves, trusting our intuition, trusting our instincts, and trusting our own link with the divine, however we individually choose to see the divine as being. At the end of the day, I trust my guts a lot more than I trust any politician, priest, or self-professed leader. Have a great eclipse, folks. Catch you tomorrow. Bye now.